Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I have not posted on here in a while and I'm gonna be upfront, and I have just been experiencing some seasonal depression. And currently in Minnesota, you know, it gets cold in Minnesota. It is snowing as we speak. I have just been feeling super unmotivated and uninspired. You know, I have this running list of video ideas that I really want to film, but it's just every day I cannot bring myself to wake up and film those videos. So I kind of did some internal thinking and I'm like, you know what, Alex, not every video that I create has to be like really long, take 2 weeks, and it has to be like some really, you know, inspiring message or creative idea. Why not just film a book haul? Like, you love doing book hauls. I love talking about books. I love buying them. Like, you bought a lot this month. Like, why don't you just talk about books? So that's what we're doing today. And you can just tell how unhinged I've been in these last few weeks because of the sheer amount of books that I have bought. I'm not even gonna talk about it because I'm currently like paying off my credit card bill right now, since it's like the beginning of the month, and it is just, it's painful. Also, another thing that I've been doing these past few weeks, I have been trying to visit all the independent bookstores in my cities, in the Twin Cities. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can head to my TikTok, where I've been posting the bookstore tours of all the indie bookstores in the Twin Cities. I currently have a few left on my list, and I think I've hit all the bookstores, but I have been loving that. And it's really hard to go to an independent bookstore and not buy a book. It's just like their like curation and like the need to like want to help an indie bookstore is just too strong. So anyway, that's the premise of this video. Let's get started into the books that I purchased myself. Okay, first we'll start with a book that I didn't purchase myself, but I found this in a little free library, and it is In the Dream House by Carmen Machado. I'm really excited about this because I have been wanting to read something by Carmen Machado. I don't think I have before, but I know that this is the memoir, and I heard it's really good. I have heard from so many people. I think it's like written in like verse, in like prose, but also like I think like short prose or whatever. So I'm really excited for this, and I'm really glad that I found this in my little free library. Like, the little free libraries around me are just like serving so much. The next book I have here is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. A lot of you guys have been screaming at me to read this book, and I get the hype now. I'm definitely not a historical fiction girly, but this book definitely shows me that I need to read more historical fiction fantasy. This was also my book club's book. I have a book club called Heartbound Book Club, which I run with my partner, and it's really fun and exciting. So I will leave all the links in the description to join our book club and our Discord page. But we actually recently did our live show on this, so I have so many thoughts about it. Who knows, maybe I'll wake up and find that I'm like well enough to film my October wrap up, but we'll see. I like, you know, like posted the fuck out of it. This book basically is, I think it talks about these, I don't know who it's inspired by. My partner is like the genius on like Chinese history, but it is based on like real Chinese history, and it's just a little bit like fictionalized. I think in some aspects, like it's pretty true to the history, but I think some parts of like the fantasy were added in. And I was actually quite disappointed because I was expecting something like the Poppy War, but this book is actually very different from the Poppy War. I can see how it's compared to the Poppy War, but it's quite different. There isn't a lot of magic, actually, to my surprise, but the writing is just gorgeous. Like, you simply cannot oversee it. So yeah, highly recommend this book, and you should totally watch our live show that we just streamed about this book. It's on my channel. This is a very interesting book. I have recently, as you can tell, been getting into memoirs a lot. I think it all started with I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Ever since that book, I think I've just been craving like real stories based on real experiences. Not that fiction is like not based on real experiences, but memoirs are definitely more true, and they are more kind of like more heartfelt a little bit, I guess you could say. But Seeing Ghosts, this one is very sad. Don't read this. It took me, I think, a month to read this book, just because I didn't want to keep going back to it. it. I simply just wanted to like read in very small pieces. But I did something really interesting with this book. I've been seeing a lot of people on like Instagram post it their books, so I kind of did a post it. Let me know if you're interested in a video about how I like mark up my books and post it in them. But this one was a good one. I don't read my books anymore. I keep saying that as if it's like something like interesting about me, but I simply just, I know like a lot of people are like expecting like a rating, and I just don't have that, and I don't write memoirs as well. This one was very sad. It's about basically a girl who loses her mother to cancer, and it's the whole story is kind of her analyzing like her grief and her loss, and like you know, making all these comparisons to like taxidermy and shit. Like the symbolism in this book is beautiful. I love the writing. I also really like the pictures. There are real pictures used from the author's like childhood, which I thought added so much to the story. So anyway, this book 100% love. Okay, now we're on to my books that I purchased. I don't know how many, oh god, I don't even want to talk about how much I spent. But yeah, I went a little crazy at some independent bookstores, so we're just gonna go through all the books that I picked up. Okay, one thing I love about indie bookstores is, again, that I talked about the curation. Like, a lot of these places specifically pull certain books and curate them. So like one of the bookstores that I went to called Next Chapter, they have this little section that's like small indie publishers. So like publishers that publish small like press books. So I found this book at this bookstore. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed, simply obsessed. If you can find this at your indie bookstore, or you can, I'll try to leave some links down below, you have to get this book. It is called Gentlemen Callers, and it's a short story collection about a woman's erotic dreams about different men. I know, crazy, right? So like, let me show you the table of contents has like different types of people, and it's just like her like erotic dreams like of these men. I believe this is also a translated text as well, but the table of contents, we have the gas station attendant, the swimming instructor, the baker, the tailor, the young priest. It's just so interesting, and I love this book because she basically, the author basically like describes herself as like objects, if that makes sense. Not in that way, like she is like, I don't know how to explain it. Okay, I'm really bad at explaining this book, but anyway, you have to read this book, the short story collection. It made me laugh, it made me emotional, but it was just so funny and so enjoyable. If you're looking for a super short read to get into that is really good, and looking to read more translated fiction, I would highly recommend this book. The next book that we have is The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. I solely picked this book up on the premise that it is a reimagining of Stephen King's Carrie. You can kind of see that from the cover. I honestly don't know much about it other than that, and I bought it in peak Halloween season. We're talking like October 15th, like everyone's preparing. I don't know if I'm in the mood for it anymore. I still really want to read it because I'm just super intrigued. I love the story of Carrie. I don't know what that means about what that says about me, but I'm just super intrigued by like the whole like high school teenage rage and angst. So I'm excited to read this one. Tiffany D. Jackson is a very well-known author in the YA space, so I have no doubt that this will be really good. The next book I got that I have been meaning to read for a long time, I think this was something that like during AAPI month, it's super recommended, and I just like never got to it. I have Convenience Store Woman. This is supposed to be like a hilarious, like funny Japanese novel. It says about a long-term convenience store employee. Looks super fun. I'm excited to read this one. It's just, I've been reading a lot of great just like AAPI fiction, and I believe that this is just gonna be like one of those books that I absolutely love and keep rereading, and it's like super short, and I have been really into short books lately, so I'm very excited for this. Okay, every fiber in my being was telling me not to buy this book, but I bought it because of the cover. I know. So the next one is Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. So here's the thing. I did not love These Violent Delights, and I hated the second book, like absolutely wanted to stop reading it, but for some reason couldn't stop reading it. So when I saw Chloe Gong was coming out with a new book, I'm like, yay, like love supporting my Asian girlies, but also like, I don't want to read it. But then I went to an indie bookstore, and again, there's something about the magic of going to an independent bookstore and seeing a book that you maybe didn't think of buying, but then you're wearing your heart goggles and you're like, I want it. So I bought it. This book was like $30, but look how gorgeous it is. And also look at the The bottom, never mind, there's nothing cool. But anyway, this book is absolutely gorgeous. I bought this from a really cool indie bookstore here called Moon Palace Books, and again, I really love her work with These Violent Delights is based on like it takes place in Shanghai, so I kind of love her historical fiction in these like Asian, you know, places, and so I really love her work with that, like the fusion of like culture and all of that. But just I'm not a fan of her writing and her characters, and that's just me. That is totally me. But I'm excited to give this a chance. I think my one obligation to read it is mostly because every time I look at my credit card statement and I see that like $30 charge from one bookstore, I'm like, maybe I should read it. So let me know if you guys have read this and if I should pick this up next. I then picked up the Hawthorne Legacy. This is the second book, the sequel to, what is the series called? I don't know what the series is called. Oh, the Inheritance Games series. Oh no, the Hawthorne Legacy series. The first book is called The Inheritance Games. I loved The Inheritance Games. It was so good. I know Jennifer Lynn Barnes is a very celebrated like mystery, like thriller author. And The Inheritance Games was like the perfect trope of like girl fights between like different brothers. I fucking love that trope. I love the Vampire Diaries. I rewatch that shit every year. So if you love the Vampire Diaries and you liked The Summer I Turned Pretty, that kind of like vibes, you will love The Inheritance Games because it's like the best of, you know, romance, like, you know, enemies to lovers, but also like fighting between brothers, and like riddles, mysteries, and just a cool premise. Basically, our main character Avery finds out that she's inheriting like this, is he a billionaire? This like billionaire's like fortune, and she doesn't even know him. That premise alone, like, that is so good. So I'm excited to finish the series. I know the third book just came out, but I bought the second book because I am actually really invested in the series. Next book I have here is my current read, and it is Ali Hazelwood's Love on the Brain. Little story time with this book. I actually like was fully like on my library app and requesting books because I don't want to be buying books. I sincerely don't want to be buying books. But I went to the, on the library app, I requested this book, and it told me that I would need to wait, I think like 20 weeks for this book. Like the queue for this book at my local library was so long that I was just like, I'm gonna bite the bullet and buy this. Actually, I went to the indie bookstore with one of my friends and she actually bought this for me, so I didn't buy it myself. But anyway, Love on the Brain, Ali Hazelwood. I love, you know, STEMinist, like fiction, romance books, all that good stuff. And I love the way Ali Hazelwood writes about like STEM culture and academia, and especially for experiences of women in academia. So if you're looking for something like that, I would highly recommend The Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain. But I'm really enjoying my time reading this right now. The next book I have here is Godslayers. If you don't know, this is the sequel to Gear Breakers, which was my favorite book of 2021, hands down best like tech sci-fi fantasy book about like technology and all that, like kind of like robots-ish. It is so good. It is queer, it is sapphic, and this is the sequel to it, and I've been meaning to read this. Okay, hear me out. I read the first few pages and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And that's not on the book, that's on me and my really terrible memory with books. As soon as I finish a book, I cannot remember what happens. Like, I have to reread the first one. So long story short, I've been meaning to read this one and I am like dying to figure out what happens next because the first one left on a cliffhanger. But I don't have the first one with me to reread, so I have to wait till I go home for the week, for the holidays, and then I will pick up this book. Okay, this next one, oh my god, I don't even want to show it. I don't even want to show this book because I feel like I've talked about this book before, and y'all know I have an arc of it. I actually have 2 arcs of it, and I have not read that yet, and this book came out a while ago. But I figured it's time for me to read The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Okay, and if you know the backstory, the reason why I'm laughing is because Samantha Shannon is like hands down my favorite author of all time. Like if you ask me who's my favorite fantasy author of all time, it'd be like Samantha Shannon. I've read the Bone Season series and I have all like multiple copies of the books, paperback, hardback, arcs, you name it. I even have the pamphlet. But the one thing that I haven't read is her newest series, this series right here. So I have arcs of this. I waited 3 hours in line to get an arc of Priory back at like book book con in like 2018 or something, and I got it and I just never read it. And that's, I think, just like a thing with me in big books though. So this is her like most recent series. I believe she's still planning on finishing the Bone Season series, which is supposed to be a 7-book series, but this is the newest one, and I believe the second one is coming out, I think, earlier than the next Bone Season series book. But anyway, I bought a finished copy because I'm like, maybe that's why I'm not inspired to read it, because I have an arc and I didn't spend my money on it. So usually when I don't spend my money on books, I don't really feel obligated to read it. So I just bought a finished copy. It wasn't that expensive, and it's totally worth it since this book is like, I think like 800 pages. But please, 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 I need all your support in the comments down below. Tell me to read this book, hype me up, let me prepare myself. I will be filming a vlog. I do have a vlog set up for this book because I really want to vlog my process reading it with you guys, because that's just how I love talking through like fantasy books. So let me know. Okay, now for the books that I received from publishers through book meal. I just want to say thank you to all the publishers. I will be mentioning them as I see them for sending me these books. It is just it's just a gift, and I am so grateful. The first book I have here is, okay, first of all, we need to talk about this font, because please use a different font. It is so hard to read this font, but I think, okay, I also don't know which one is like the title and which one is the author name. I'm not trying to critique anything right here. Actually, I am. But I think this is, okay, this book is called Burnham Wood by Eleanor Catton. I literally just received this book in the mail like 15 minutes ago, which kind of like kickstarted the idea to film this video. But this is from the author of The Luminaries, which I have heard from before. But I love these little like publishing letters that they send you, and it says, are you a secret agent of the status quo, a disruptor, a billionaire, an unwitting servant of the surveillance state? Can you be sure? I feel like this book is just very weird. It is a psychological thriller that's really interesting. But yeah, I really appreciate being sent this. I love FSG. Which, if you don't know, is Farah, Strauss, and Giro. I don't know how to fucking say that, but thank you so much for sending me this. I'm very excited to check this out. The next book I have here is an arc. This one comes out in February 2023, and this is She is a Haunting. There is currently no cover, but if you go on Goodreads, actually, and I'll put it up on the screen, they actually revealed the cover for this book, and guys, the cover is freaking gorgeous. Like, I just want to read this book. It's giving me like Rory Power, Wilder Girls kind of vibes, like the whole flowers and like a girl's face. But this is apparently a queer like haunted house kind of story. You know, it's giving Mexican Gothic, and I believe this is compared to Mexican Gothic a lot in its like early reviews and stages. I'm so excited for that, because if you guys didn't see my most recent video where I scared the shit out of myself by reading horror books, I read Mexican Gothic, and it's definitely one of my favorites of this year. So this is like a Vietnamese like reimagining of that, I guess. It's like definitely inspired, like it's definitely compared to Mexican Gothic, but it's about a Vietnamese character and about the diaspora. So yeah, highly recommend this. I will leave all the links to all these books that I talk about in the description. But thank you so much to Bloomsbury for sending me this. Okay, the next books I have here is from a publishing company called Spiegel and Gra. These are two, I think, early like spring releases. Well, one's in February and then one's in March. But these are both historical fiction, which if you don't know me, I don't read historical fiction a lot, so I'm excited to check these out. You know how I am with like going out of my comfort zone. But first we have Go as a River by Shelley Reed, yeah, I don't know. This takes place in the 1940s in Colorado. Very interesting. And then we have this one, which I am more excited about this one actually. This one is Skull Water. It has, yeah, Skullwater, and it's an haunting intergenerational coming-of-age novel set in South Korea in the 1950s and 1970s. It's very much reminding me a little bit of Pachinko. Pachinko is an intergenerational family story, and I love Pachinko. Pachinko is one of my favorite books of all time, so I will be reading this, and I hope you guys check both of these books out. I will leave the links in the description. The next book I have here is so freaking big. It is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. Yo, I won this in a giveaway. I never really do Instagram giveaways because I never win them. I never win Goodreads giveaways. I'm not that kind of person who's like has like incredible luck with giveaways. But Oprah's book club did a giveaway, and for some reason I was just like, oh yeah, let me do it. And I won, and I'm like, whoa. The mailing for this was super cute. I received a little like iron pan, like what is it called? A cast iron skillet. They gave me a mini cast iron skillet with this book. I don't know much about this, but I'm excited to read it. Barbara Kingsolver is the author of Flight Behavior, which is one of my the books that I had to read for my like environmental class, which I loved so much. So I'm excited to read this. I don't know if this one also takes kind of like environmental themes, but again, I am very excited to check it out. The next book I have is Well, That Was Unexpected by Jessie Q. Sutanto, the author of Dial A for Aunties, which is also a favorite of mine too, but I literally did not hear about this book and did not know that she was releasing a new YA. This kind of looks middle grade to me. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but it's actually YA, I think. Thank you, Underline, for sending this to me. All I know is that she can make me laugh so freaking hard. Like, I think when I read Dial A for Aunties, I laughed so hard that I like almost peed myself. So I'm excited to get into this book, and I know there will be some unexpected turns. Okay, we're getting to the last few. Don't worry, the end is coming. The next book I have is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. Guys, you have to pick this book up. This is our November Heartbound Book Club book. I'm not telling you to pick it up just to join our book club, but I'm also not telling you not to join our book club. So you should definitely pick this up. It is a cozy fantasy book. I've only really heard of cozy mysteries, and this is a cozy fantasy book. It's about an orc who wants to open up a coffee shop in like, you know, in the world, but they have to go through like all of these, you know, struggles and fight off monsters and, you know, battle. It's really cute. I haven't read it yet, but I'm so excited. Thank you so much to the publishers Tor for partnering with us this month to talk about this book, and also for providing books to give away. If you follow our Instagram, we do giveaways occasionally. They also sent the cutest stickers ever. I have to show you guys these because they're just so freaking cute. They're like chibis of some of the characters. So I am super excited to read this, and I hope you guys join us for November. Okay, the last book I have here, I'm tired of talking. It is Bliss Montage by Ling Ma, the author of Severance. Now, I read Severance over the summer, and I really loved that book. Like, it was just one of the books that I felt like resonated with my soul so much. This I started reading it a little bit, and I don't know, I think the stories just don't. I think short story collections are very hit and miss with me. I think just because I am someone who needs like a very distinct plot in a book. That's not to say that I don't like no plot books, but I think short stories sometimes tend to be kind of all over the place. My like brain cannot follow along and like find like that thread that is connecting all the stories together. So I DNF'd this one, but I'm hoping to get back into it because I just love Ling Ma's writing. So let me know if you guys have read this, but thank you so much to FSG for sending me this. They also sent a really cool like package along with it, so thank you. All right, we are finally at the end of this book haul. Again, so excited for all of the new books that I have to read. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you are doing to battle seasonal depression. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.